Hello and welcome back to this Illustrator Basics tutorial. Today we're going to be going over the pen tool. Now, I'll be the first to admit I'm not that great with the pen tool, and I don't know if it's a skill I'll ever get really good at. Most of the time when I'm drawing, I like to use the Curvature Tool, and you'll see why when we get into this. I think it's just a little bit easier to manipulate the lines and stuff with the Curvature Tool. There are instances where I have used the pen tool on jobs, but most of the time I'm using that Curvature Tool. So let's create a new document, select the A4, and we'll be landscape, hit create. And now let's import or place our template file that we're going to be tracing. So go down to place or press Shift Control P, and we're going to select 8pentool.jpg and make sure you select template so it is a template. Alright, so the first one we're going to work with is this crown here, and you can zoom in by holding Alt and scrolling in. So you select the pen tool by, well, I don't have the pen tool up, but I'll bring it up. You select the pen tool by clicking on it or pressing P, and you place the corner anchor or an anchor by just clicking. So let's just click our way around here, and I have a fill, so make sure you turn that off first. So let's click our way around here to make our nice little crown. And you can make a line with the pen tool like you can with the curvature tool just by pressing escape to end that. So go ahead and press A to bring up your direct selection tool and look at some of these points. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the background so we can get a real nice look at our crown. So let's select just this corner here and zoom in a little more, and you can see we have that cornering tool that we get when we make a rectangle with the rectangle tool, and that'll enable us to round these corners. And you can select multiple cornering tools by holding down Shift and clicking on this anchor point, and it brings up those cornering tools there, and we'll just click and round that there a little bit. And you can click here, hold down Shift, brings up those cornering tools, and we'll just round them down like that. Pretty simple, huh? So let's press Ctrl 0 and move out, open up that or reapply that template background, hold Alt and zoom in on this mask, holding spacebar, move over. So now we need to make curves here with this pen tool. It's not straight lines like that last one. So I like to place the corners at the peak of a curve, so here. And when you place that anchor point, make sure you drag just a little bit for each one you place. We're not going to see any major curves on this one. I just want you to click and drag at the peak of each curve and just drag slightly. Don't worry about getting a perfect mask outline just yet. We're going to come back in and alter all of these anchor points. And you just click once to join that back up. So now press A to bring up your direct selection tool again, and go ahead and zoom in on this side just a little bit. Click to bring that up, and you see we have the handlebars here. Now the longer a handlebar is, the more influence that anchor point is going to have on that line. So if I stretch that handlebar out, you see it really influences that line and makes a much bigger curve. Same way with this one, really influences and brings it out. Now you can rotate that those handlebars around the anchor point, and that influences the curve in the way that it comes into and out of that anchor point. So if we move this to the left, you see that it changes the angle that line's going to go through that anchor point. So we'll just manipulate each one of these anchor points. Alright, as you can see, we have our mask outline there. Now it's not great. You can see it's pretty lumpy. If we would have used the curvature tool like we did in the last lesson, you'd see that this would be a lot smoother. But we are able to use the pen tool to do this. So what if I want to add more anchor points around this? Well, just select this, make sure you have this selected, press P or select your pen tool again, And all you have to do is click, much like the curvature tool, where you want those anchor points to be. Now, what if you want them deleted? Well, you just take your pen tool, hover over it, and click it and it deletes it. But as you see, it also undoes those changes we did to this. So you bring up the direct selection tool again and just pull that out like so. All right, let's do one more shape and then I'll let you guys do the rest yourself. So go ahead and hold Alt, zoom in. We're just gonna do this one shape here. We have the pen tool selected. I'm going to click and drag up here. And I'm just going to click my way around. And I'm not going to drag, and you'll see why in a second. So now if I bring up my direct selection tool and zoom in on this point and select it, you'll see all I have is that cornering option. I don't have the handlebars. That's because I didn't click and drag when I was making this anchor point. So am I just gonna have to delete this all and start all over again? Well, no. I can just go over to the pen tool, click and hold, and then come down to this anchor point. And what that does is it allows me to turn a regular anchor point into a curvature anchor point by just clicking and dragging on that anchor point. And then I can manipulate the object like this. Sometimes I find it a little easier to actually make your objects this way than it is to do it the traditional way, or the way we did with the mask. Now with the anchor point, when you click and drag out like that, it's going to move both arms of the handlebars in the same direction at the same rate. Notice how they're both going out. So if you want to fine tune this afterwards, you'll have to go back to your direct selection tool and fine tune them individually, each side individually. Now this side is already, if I bring up my direct selection tool and click it, this side already has the barbells, and that's because when I placed it by clicking and dragging. So if I want to make this a regular corner, I bring up that anchor point tool and I click on it once and it snaps it back to a regular corner. You can see if I would just click this one again, it would snap it back to a regular corner. Now I have to go back to my direct selection tool, come down here, click this one, and I just want to shorten this one barbell up and not have it affect quite as much, and maybe even move this out like so. You can see we made our little half teardrop for the yin and yang tool. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I want you guys to practice using the pen tool on this cloud and on the camera, and you can even go back to using the curvature tool just to see what the difference, how big of a difference there really is between the two. If you enjoyed this tutorial or found it useful, please hit like and hit that subscribe button and then ring that bell so that you don't miss any of our future videos. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.